we're having a friendly competition. Let's go ahead and jump into it. We have the Baofeng versus the Retevis RT5. Now, this has obviously been, I guess you could say, the standard for budget ham radios in the sphere of preppers and survivalism. You talk to anybody, they're like, oh yeah, comms, sure, got you. Baofeng, go get one, right? But the Retevis RT5 is a new kid on the block, at least in my world. I had never heard of the brand before until they sent me a sample. So today what we're going to do is just like break down this radio, talk about the specs, talk about the features, and do a comparison between these two and talk about a few of the key differences that make this one a better choice than this one. But first, I got something that's really important that I need to share with you guys. Now, to be 100% clear, owning a ham radio like this doesn't mean much unless you know how to use it effectively and, yes, maybe even legally. If you're like me, you might have thought about getting your license and then thought about it some more, but you didn't know where to begin or maybe even which questions to ask, like what do all these waves mean? And why does advertised range say 40 miles but actual is 1? And then most important, can I call in a drone strike on my enemies as a vengeful sky god would do? So, when all hope was lost, I get an email from the guys at hamradioprep.com. We talked a bit and come to find out they have a ham radio prep course. So imagine that. Imagine knowing exactly what you need to study and then being able to test yourself with practice exams until you are 100% confident of total victory. Now they have 3 courses available, level 1 tech to level 3, and then 1 dedicated to the Baofeng. This material has helped 40,000 plus students prepare for the exam, myself included. So join me in getting legal and save 20% with discount code SurvivalOutpost20. Now back to the star of the show. This is the RT5. We're looking at a dual band 128 channel ham radio with a built-in flashlight and a 4-color LCD, which makes it quite easy to read in low light conditions when you're up to no good. The price point is $39.99 and it is currently available in 2-tone red, black, or just black. Now you can see here it is a bit taller and leaner than the Baofeng, making the keys easier to use and seemingly larger with more spacing. Now everything else about this radio is basically a clone of the Baofeng's, from position of the keys on the side panel, the display, and even down to the software, which is also the same as the Baofeng. I even believe that I heard that it is made in the same factory. Now of course guys, when you have 2 radios here that are super similar, that's a good thing because if you know how to use a Baofeng, you're probably going to know how to use the RT5 fairly quickly. Now another detail that matches up with the Baofeng is the antenna connector type, which is your standard SMA female, which means I can switch out the antenna no problem, get rid of the rubber ducky, which is basically worthless, and boost my range big time. Then also good to mention that the chirp cable is interchangeable between the RT5 and the Baofeng. So yeah, pretty much the same all around, even down to the flashlight feature and the placement of keys. But indeed there are 2 key differences, maybe even 3, that make this radio superior to the Baofeng UV5R and other models that I've seen on the market. First and foremost, the transmit power I noticed was off the charts. Actual VHF high power can reach about 7 watts and UHF is 6 watts. Now why does this matter? Well, wattage determines the strength of the radio signal. So a stronger signal means more range. Period. Okay? Of course, yes, environment and terrain also, play a part in there, but either way, the RT5 has nearly double the transmit power of these Baofeng units I have right here. On to number 2, battery life. We're getting about 8 to 12 hours out of this battery with a capacity of 1800 milliampere hours. Yes, it's about the same as the Baofeng, but I can charge this from my car, which I really can't do with these Baofengs. Well, okay, I kind of can, but then I have to bring the docking station, which kind of sucks. That's just something else to drag around. Yeah, so better choice here for charging. I definitely got to go with the RT5, plug it right in there to the cigarette lighter, and be ready to go. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is a quality car charger on the market for the UV5R. I have no idea. Leave me a comment below and let me know. So, there's that. Number 1, transmit power off the charts. Number 2, battery life good to go and recharging in your vehicle. And then finally, a few other details to mention. It does have that 4-color LCD, which I mentioned, which does make viewing in the dark easier with that nice backlight And there is also a squelch function that helps to suppress the ever-present background noise. And then also, I just noticed this, is it has the button right here to switch bands quickly, right? And the other radio does not. So I just thought that was a nice little detail to point out. Now, let's talk a little bit about range. If we're talking about bands, we got to talk about range, right? So, talking actual range, not advertised range. Out of the box with this radio, with the rubber ducky antenna at 4 watts, which is medium transmit power, locked onto an FRS channel, I got about a half a mile in the suburbs, and then sometimes even less, depending on weather. Like if it's really raining, for example, it's going to be less range. So that was fine. I didn't have any big expectations out the box. I swapped out the antenna immediately and then bumped it up to 7 watt transmit power, which is high mode, and the range nearly doubled. This is a big upgrade, of course, from the Baofeng, which when it's on high transmit power only gets 4 watts and maybe about a half a mile, give or take, right? And yeah, so that experience, like between the urban environments with the 2 radios, big difference, right? And I would imagine the same would be true in the forest, because when I had the Baofeng out in the forest, you know, in dense pine forest or whatever, man, the range is awful. It's like a quarter mile, and I expected to get more out of it. Now, granted, that is on an FRS channel, but that's, you know, the VHF, or sorry, UHF is what you're gonna have to use in those, you know, close areas. So maybe I'm thinking with the Retevis on high power, I could maybe even double those results. So if I'm getting a quarter mile with the Baofeng, maybe I get a half a mile with the RT5. Who knows? I'd like to find out. I haven't had a chance to really put that to the test as of yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and signal 87 house.
Roger that.
This is Night Rider, radio check, waypoint 1.
And really, when it comes down to it, guys, that's just the limitations of UHF, you know, in urban areas or in dense forest. You're not going to get that much range, but not to worry. All you got to do, you have another band there, right? So you tune over to the VHF band, which is ideal for transmitting over long distances because it tends to bend with the curve of the earth. And, you know, I guess honestly, guys, what it boils down to, I talk about this all the time, choosing the right gear for the mission. So you got UHF, you got VHF. What do you choose, right? Well, depending on the environment is really with the band that you utilize. So let's say at a very high level, UHF is best for indoors and crowded spaces, urban environments, right? Because the shorter wavelength penetrates better through obstacles, but the caveat there, guys, is the range is going to be lessened, okay? You can't have the best of both worlds, range and penetration. But now that, you know, if you need range, though, you ditch the UHF and you move to VHF because it has a longer wavelengths, therefore longer range, but you're going to have less penetration ability. That's why it's better for use outdoors and more open spaces.
And which one wins? And which one wins?
Let me know down there in the comments. For me, the answer is pretty obvious. This guy is definitely the clear winner over the Baofengs, and the 2 reasons that I pointed out before are still the same as what they were. First of all, you get the car charging capability with that battery, so that's really cool. And then secondly, the transmit power on this has 3 modes, low, medium, high, completely like doubling the power output of this guy, which is at 4 watts on the high mode versus 7 to 8 watts over here. And yeah, aside from that, it's a slimmer shape. I do like that, and I like the red and black coloring, so you get, you know, a little more options over just your standard black, or like this one right here. This camo is pretty sick on this, but good luck finding that camo option out there. It's probably not available anymore. So overall, for me personally, RTV5 is the way to go, but I would like to know what you think down there in the comments. Thanks a lot for the support, and let's get out there and get our ham, right? Get our license so we can actually flex and use these to their best potential. See you guys next time. Thanks for the support. Hey, you still there? Cool. Then don't forget to check out our website located on the interwebs at thesurvivaloutpost.com. We are designed and optimized for hard use, for the self-reliant who talk less and hustle more. Thanks to our international connections, you get first access to unique and innovative products from around the world. This is the gear that will give you that edge you need in a survival situation, or if you're just trying to keep the lights on when the power goes out. Any content mentioned in this video is linked up down there in the pinned post, and be sure to watch the suggested videos for more real-world survival training and knowledge.